I found out I wasn't invited to my sister's wedding through an Instagram post after I paid for it. A gold-lettered invite sat on white satin, and her caption said, "Can't wait to celebrate with all my loved ones." 2 weeks later, the venue locked them out, and the vibe didn't matter anymore. For months, I'd been her financial safety net. I covered the venue deposit when she and her fiancé came up short, then the catering advance when my parents needed time. I even wired money for her dress because she swore she'd pay me back after the wedding. I ran a successful auto shop and worked 60-hour weeks to keep payroll steady, so I DM'd her, simple, "Hey, I never got my invite. Did it get lost?" She replied at 10:34 p.m. "We had to curate the guest list. It's elegant. No offense, but you don't fit the vibe. You'll be happy for me from afar." I stared at the glow of my phone until my eyes burned. Looking back, that was when I realized I wasn't family to her. I was funding. My sister loved professional people, the ones with manicured hands and rehearsed laughs. To her, I was just the mechanic, the embarrassing brother with rough fingers and a shop smell that clung to my skin. I'd seen the nose wrinkle at dinners when I showed up straight from work, rag in my back pocket, grease still under the nails. I kept wondering when hard work became something to hide, and I couldn't tell if she was cruel or just addicted to appearances. The next morning, I drove to my parents' house unannounced. From the hallway, I heard my mom say, "I don't want him embarrassing us." My sister answered sharp, "It's sophisticated. I can't have him showing up like he crawled out from under a car." My dad mumbled, "He's family," like it was nothing. That was the moment I understood no one was going to defend me. I walked into the kitchen. "So that's how you see me." My sister lifted her chin. "Don't take it personally. It's not your kind of crowd." Mom added, "You can be a little rough." I held up my hands stained around the nails. "I paid for half this wedding, but I'm too rough to attend." My sister shrugged. "It's about image. I need everything perfect." On my drive back, she texted, "Cake payment is due Friday. Can you still cover it?" I had to pull over because I was laughing and shaking at the same time. No apology, no shame, just another bill, like I was a credit card with a pulse. I texted back, "Wouldn't want to embarrass you. Good luck," and put my phone face down on the seat. The calls came in waves. Sister, mom, dad, none of them saying sorry, all of them saying, "You promised." 2 days later, my mom showed up at my shop and walked past my employees like she owned the place. She sat in my tiny office, eyes stuck on the stained counter, and said the venue and bakery were holding everything hostage. "She'll be humiliated," she finished, like that was the emergency. I wiped my hands on a rag. "She deserves the wedding she can afford," I said, and my mom left without saying goodbye. When I finally picked up one call, my sister was already screaming. "You're betraying me," she yelled. I said, "No, you excluded me but kept my money. I'm done paying." She spit back, "You have plenty. You won't miss it." That line flipped something cold in me. "You're right," I said, "and you'll never touch it again." Then I blocked them all. On the morning of the wedding, my cousin texted me, "Bro, you're not gonna believe this. The venue kicked them out." I pictured it like a slow crash. First, guests pulled up in black SUVs. Then, the venue doors stayed locked. Next, staff stood inside, arms folded. After that, the planner's voice went frantic. Again, my sister pounded on the glass. Then, someone taped up a cancellation notice. Finally, everyone turned to stare at her. At 1:15 p.m., she called from a random number. "Are you happy now?" she screamed. "The wedding is ruined." I leaned back and let the silence stretch. "You assumed I'd save you," I said. "You didn't even want me there." Her voice broke. "Why couldn't you just help?" I said, "I already did. You just didn't notice until you needed more." Then I hung up. They threw together a backyard ceremony with folding chairs and whatever food they could scrape up. I heard my sister smiled through clenched teeth all night, humiliated in front of the same people she'd tried to impress. I didn't check in. I didn't fix it. I stayed gone. A year later, my parents talked to me carefully now, like they finally learned I can walk away. My sister never apologized, but she also never asked me for money again. In hindsight, that silence was the closest thing to respect she ever offered. It wasn't love, but it was a boundary I earned the hard way, and I kept it.